go. Now it's working. Hello. Good morning. Good evening. Good day. Good afternoon. Aloha. I don't want to blow out the mic here. Welcome back to another episode of the Church of Ufology. My name's Luis Jimenez. It's a live edition, so welcome to the live show. You guys know the drill. If you haven't already, like, share, subscribe. And yeah, I've got a special fun friend here, as always. Mr. Rather Be Squidding. Before we get to that, do we need to do anything before we get to that? I don't know if you guys saw the show today, the edited video that I put out, Jeremy Corbell and Bob Lazar to Congress. We're going to talk about it a little bit today, so that should be fun. So without further ado, let's bring in the man, shall we? Let's bring in Mr. Rather Be Squidding. Let's set up to our two-person panel here. Oh wait, this switched up. Let's get the right one. Let's see here. Where's Rather? There he is. Rather, you there? Oh, he popped out. Let's see here. Technical difficulties. Give us a second. We'll get Rather in here in a moment. I don't know what happened there. Okay. I'm sure he'll pop in here in a second. Let's see what happens. Look at me. I'm like all duified here. Let me go back to the main camera setup. Wait for Rather to pop in here. He just sent me a message. Let's see what's shaking. Internet hiccup. Restarting router. Alright, he's restarting his router. Let's see who's out there, shall we? Let's do this setup. So Rather restarts his router. What's up, you guys? How we doing? Let's see here. I'll switch this. Let's see here. No, don't want to switch to that. Interesting. All right, you know what? All right. Let's just stick to this. Let's stick to this. All right, I think that's going to work. Let's see what's going on with you guys out here. There's Rather. Rather, can you hear me? Yeah. All right. There we go. Okay. Hold on one second. Let me, where did that little thing go? Hold on a second. Ah, there it is. There it is. Yeah, man. It's just like, it's what happens when you don't do live streams for a while. You forget how to switch up all your stuff. Let me see. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Okay, now we got our chat working. Your camera's working. My camera's working. People can hear us. Everything's good. Everything's working. Excellent. Okay. Rather, what's up, buddy? How you doing?
Doing well, yeah. Been taking a little bit of a break from the UFO topic. Kind of been tangentially listening on to what's going on, but
yeah,
paying attention to your videos. You're putting out some interesting content out there. I love the Chat GPT video and an interesting video about Bob Lazar and Stanton Friedman you just put out. I've been I've been enjoying it.
Thanks, man. East Coast Tina is in the chat. Hello, thank you for being here. Dude, yeah, I appreciate it. I've been working my ass off on those videos. Kind of just doing them as they inspire me. I feel like they've been, especially with this particular video. I've been like very. I've been wanting to make that one for a long time. Like I've been wanting to talk about that debate specifically for a long time between Bob Lazar and Corbell. Just because it was so. It was like I guess I was kind of shocked that nobody had called it out before. That sort of contention and ego that whole. I don't know if you went back. Did you end up going back and watching the whole debate in context? Have you had a chance yet?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
I would love to though. It looked like that was how long was
Oh,
the whole interview?
the whole thing was probably.
Rather's mic is very low.
Oh, rather your mic's very low apparently. Oh, you know what? I know why. Don't change a thing. No, it's me. That should be. Hello? Give it a test now, rather. Go for it.
All right.
Yeah, there you go. That's better.
I love it when I can pass off a technical problem. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah. I just you didn't change anything on your end, right? Okay.
I might have tried to turn it up a little bit. Am I
Okay.
loud now?
No, yeah, you might have been clipping, but you're perfect now. I think you're good now. Let's give it a shot. Go ahead, just start talking. I can see your levels.
All right.
He's
Sweet.
good now.
We'll figure
Huh?
this out.
Good now.
Yeah.
What's that, man?
Can you hear me?
He's good.
He's
How's
good.
it
Yeah.
going?
Okay. Michelle says you're good. Michelle says you're good now. Yeah. It was my fault. I had because I have the music playing in the background, and it's the same source that picks up the music and your voice. So I turned it down thinking I was turning down the music, but I was also turning down your mic. So.
Well, yeah, you got I mean, you're a professional streamer now. You got Twitch. You got all OBS or whatever the hell that is.
Yeah.
You got it all.
He's low again.
Yeah, it's not as easy as
How's
it looks.
Now?
Yeah.
I was trying to tweak things in real time there.
I'm looking at it.
Well.
I'm looking at it. It looks good on my end. Yeah, I'm looking at the live chat. Sorry, guys. It's been about almost a month since I'd say 3 weeks since last time I live streamed. Just because I've been so busy with work and I've been so busy editing and doing auditions. I've got a big audition I got to study for this weekend. But yeah, it's
Good
been.
luck.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah, it's just been really, really busy, and I just found a lot of joy in sort of doing these edited pieces.
I can tell you're not holding back. You're telling your true thoughts, which I think comes through. And I
but
appreciate it.
the good thing is that it's still edited. Like there are a lot of other things I'm saying, but I get to edit myself, which I think is better because it's more to the point. It's a little clearer. There's no try to take sort of all the emotion out of it, even though it does leak through in there. But yeah, I mean, what do you think of sort of the whole idea? I know on the surface level, I think most people would say that sounds fucking dumb. Like Bob Lazar to Congress, why would you do that, right? Like it seems so stupid. But when you juxtapose it to, well, Congress and congressional members are clearly taking Corbell's stories and videos as proof of something, and that's helping them make decisions as far as funding the Aero office and things like that. Now it's that's a little different. That's not just a grift and taking advantage of a community. Now you're influencing tax dollars. Like that's a big deal, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, and I can see why you'd want him to testify, but my fear would be that it might not go the way that you think it might go, right? You think that by him testifying, he'll be kind of asked challenging questions and exposed as a fraud.
No, I don't think it's not so much that I think that he'd be exposed as a fraud on Congress. I think Congress would be able to.
He's still low.
He's still low.
Can't get it right, can we?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe pump it up on your end a little bit. I'm looking at your levels; they look fine to me. I think maybe it could be because just there's so many sort of like. Go ahead, keep talking rather.
Talk. I'll try to adjust StreamYards here. Turn it up.
Yeah, I'm turning it up on my end. I think we'll figure it out. It's a little low, but hopefully people are listening through on headphones and it won't be too bad. I think eventually, to do interviews, I'm gonna need a mixer. There's just I think there's too many sound inputs going into one thing, and it's having a hard time.
Just keeps on adding
differentiating.
Up.
Yeah, dude. It's always
donate, support the show.
Yeah, I've got a Patreon, guys. Please, links in the description. But yeah, so the idea is not so much to get Congress to catch him in a lie. The idea is to check into those special access programs and the claim of S4. Like, they won't be able to check on those things right there on the spot, but at least you'd be able to get them under oath testifying to those programs and seeing where it leads, which I don't think it would be anywhere.
Well, yeah. What would he say? I mean, he'd probably just say, "I worked at S4. I just like my college professors. I can't remember anybody's name. I can't remember any names of the things I was in, but."
Damn. Did we lose him again? Oh, no, wait. Oh, you're back. You froze over a second.
I'm still here.
Okay, cool. Sorry.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, it's cool. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, yeah, just what do you think that he would say to those questions? You know, he can't remember his college professors' names. Is he going to be able to name any names of any programs or name any people that they can actually check up on?
I would.
He hasn't so far, has he?
No, he hasn't. He hasn't. But again, like when you've got congressmen talking about reverse engineered programs, and that's sort of the whole point of this story is reverse engineered program. So does that program exist? And can we definitively 100% through congressional inquiries determine whether or not these things exist or not? I think that's a fair question, because again, when you've got Tim Burchett on a Newsmax talking about Roswell and reverse engineering with Jeremy Corbell sitting right next to him doing the same live interview, that's different.
Well, yeah. I mean, to that end, though, I don't even know if we need Bob Lazar to be testifying, because, as you said, we do have these whistleblower laws in action now, and I've been trying to.
Damn.
Testifying in Congress already. So if that's the case, shouldn't we just sit and wait? It should all be coming forth eminently.
You would think. I mean, from the way Ross Coulthart and James Fox are speaking, you would think that the unveiling of reverse engineered programs are right around the corner. I mean, they keep saying it's like right around the corner, and it never ever comes. So I think it's. Personally, I think if Bob Lazar did get called into Congress, it would be. Do you think he'd plead the Fifth? Oh man, this internet sucks. Rather, can you hear me? Hello. I think Rather might be on a Wi-Fi. Let me see. Okay. Rather, are you on Wi-Fi?
Yeah. I'm in a different room right now, so I've here.
Okay. That's probably what's going on. All right, let me do another solo layer. I think it's the Wi-Fi that's killing us here. Because I see your setup's different.
I am in a different room. The Wi-Fi does not seem to reach these areas as well as I would have hoped.
That's okay. But anyway, I mean, what do you think? Do you
I,
think he would plead the fifth? Did you get that question?
I, I mean, I don't think he would plead the fifth necessarily because there's nothing to be guilty of, right? He's not trying to.
Well,
Um,
if what he's
like
saying
what would
is
be the guilt thing?
if what he's saying is true, then that means he's revealing a top secret classified program. If it's true.
I suppose, yeah.
You know, so that would be, I mean, he'd be kind of incriminating himself if he actually testified that before Congress. I think the play would be to plead the fifth, which wouldn't look good. But if he's telling the truth, it would be a move.
Yeah. I mean, you'd think that if he agrees to go testify before Congress, because they're not going to compel him to testify, I wouldn't think, that he would want to say something to Congress. And I can see why he might plead the fifth if he was, forced to testify. But I see that scenario hard to actually be playing out in reality. I feel like he would, if he goes to Congress, he's going to try to say something.
Right. Just checking one thing here real quick. Sorry. All right, cool. Because I'm not running it live through StreamYard. I can't. Oh my gosh, you guys. So sorry. Like I can't see everybody's comments on Twitch. So I see you, East Coast Tina. I'm gonna have to pop into the live, like, actual show. There we go. And so I can see, oh my gosh, Tiftastic. Thank you so much for the $10 donation. I just saw it. To help Rather Be get better Wi-Fi. Red Panaquata with a $10 donation. Thank you. Lazar for Congress, open Los Alamos. I mean, I agree, man. Like, and here's an interesting, sorry to cut you off, but this was interesting. Steam Train Mark said, what about the other people who worked in the program? They can be named. You know, now that there's whistleblower protections, right? I mean, maybe Dennis, his boss.
/ alter ego, right?
Maybe alter ego. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, just name your professors, name your boss, like these things should be easy to verify. And it's, I mean, this shows you how much people want to believe that they're willing to kind of look through these red flags of him not being able to name these names.
Yeah. Just real quick for my YouTube audience, just because I know I have a much larger audience there. How's everybody's audio sounding? Sorry, we're still going through the growing pains of OBS, man. I'm still figuring out this software, and it's especially difficult when you don't do it. You only do it once every 2 weeks because you've been busy with work. But, I mean, like, I think more than anything, I think I'd like to see Corbell and Knapp get called in, just because they've got the sources and they're the ones leaking this. It's not classified information, but it's sure inferred that way. And it seems like the information they're getting is hinted at by, Rep Carson in that clip that I showed in today's video, where it's like he's thanking MUFON and Jeremy Corbell in a UAP hearing, the first one in over 50 years, as a credible place to get information on this topic.
I mean, it's just kind of ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah. No, it's totally ridiculous.
I mean, yeah. I'd be for Jeremy Corbell testifying before Congress because he was cited in the UFO hearings. Let's hear what he has to say and what his sources are.
Well, and I guess that's kind of why I think Lazar and Knapp also should be in people called in, because they're part of that. Without what, like, it's a tripod. Without one, it doesn't stand. You know what I mean? Like, they almost all of them have to be called in to confirm each other's, to validate each other's sort of part in this.
Yeah, I mean, the one potential problem there is, like, I'm not sure what the laws and ethical expectations are for journalists going before Congress. Like,
He's not a
I could
journalist,
see.
though.
Well, Knapp is, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I mean, he's a local news guy.
He's a
I
local
could see
news
them
guy.
being like, I don't want to reveal my sources because of journalistic integrity and stuff like that. But I was
But
surprised you didn't mention Lou Elizondo in your video.
why is that?
Well, I think if there's one person that should testify, I think it would be
For sure.
him. I'm
But
kind
I
of
think
surprised that he hasn't already.
I think that's its own video.
Yeah, maybe more than one.
Yeah, maybe more than one. I think that's its own video. I mean, that's obvious. But the thing is, the difference is here, though, and I'll give this to Lou, is he's asked to be called in.
Yeah. So what? Why not? Why not have him in?
So yeah, why not have him in? I mean, if he's being asked to be called in, call him in. I think going back to your first point is like, will the questions though be poignant in a way to get more clarity? That's really the question, because I'm not sure if staffers and lawmakers are really, they're not caught up on the history of this and sort of they definitely don't know about his sock puppet accounts and all the other stuff that's happened on social media with him.
Yeah, and I don't know, did you catch any of the TikTok hearings or like the Facebook hearings, or like whenever you hear Congress talk about anything, technological or, physical or scientifical, they're not the most discerning audience. So they don't ask the best questions necessarily.
Well, it's wild to me that like, even in the clip that I just, obviously full disclosure, everything that I edited today was edited for time and for just to get sharper to the point. So that's why I included the links to everything. But I was, the thing about editing is you have to listen to these things over and over and over and over again. And I'm listening to Gillibrand, and it is just clear as day. She is not talking about UFOs and aliens and non-human intelligence. She's genuinely trying to get funding for an air safety issue. But I think, and the sort of vibe I'm getting now, especially from the DOD and guys like Moultrie, is that, Senator, we got this. Like, we're aware. We're aware of the drone issue. We're aware of a lot of these things. We're doing our best behind the scenes to take care of it. Why are you flogging us in public for this money? Kind of thing. Like, is this just like a whole bunch of UFO zealots really influenced a handful of members of Congress into again, just like, what the hell's going on? What the fuck is going on? It's so weird.
It's not that hard to figure out what's going on. I think you hit the nail right on the head there. Because, like, I mean, me and you, we were both a year ago convinced that there was something going on. And it took, personal involvement with the people who were pushing the narrative for kind of us to figure out that, hey, there's something that smells kind of fishy here, something's not right.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that their interactions with Congress and everyone, they're being much more professional. They certainly seem much more serious when they're talking to Congress. So I could see them, still seeing, talking to Elizondo and viewing him as a patriot and someone who is really seeing things that are legitimately weird and being convinced by him. I mean, he's a convincing guy, and he might be talking from the heart as well. That's but he's wrong about what he believes, and it takes a little bit of investigation and a little bit of more than just a surface level understanding of the story to kind of come to that conclusion. So it doesn't surprise me that Congress people haven't.
Yeah. No, well, they don't have the time. I mean, we've spoken about that, right? Like, 75% of a congressman's day is making phone calls for money, to fund their next campaign. Like, it's a joke. So this idea that they're sitting there or even their staffers are really digging into the timeline and the complexities of what ATIP was, who actually ran it, what is it, what does Harry Reid's involvement really have to do with this. You know, like all of these things, I don't think they understand the nuance and the context of those things. And so, because it would be difficult for anyone to sort of sift through that. Anyone. And I think I don't know if it's designed that way or if it's just, what's the term Eric Weinstein used? Just an abundance of just blunders, you know, just absolute blunders that have the perfect storm of just craziness, I guess.
Yeah, it's hard to know, isn't it? It's I mean, I think I know what it isn't, right? I'm pretty sure it's not aliens that the government is reporting, but there still is an interesting story here. It's still, yeah, why is everything going on now, right?
Well, I mean, again, like I think we've spoken about, like, even if it's not aliens, the story is still very compelling, and that means that the tech that we have is obviously good enough to make our own pilots think, oh my God, maybe this is an alien, or the training needs to be beefed up so they can decipher alien ships and balloons.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
which
I think
which one is
might
it?
be the latter.
You think it's the latter?
There is some interest in.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there is, you know, like there's different classes of things, right? The whole Nimitz David Fravor thing is still pretty weird and interesting. You know,
Yeah.
I think that probably is some sort of hologram technology or something like that. But who knows, right? But that is way different than what Ryan Graves is reporting that they're seeing every day. You know, there's really not that much unusual about the reports that Ryan Graves and the pilots that, you know, he's talking to. You know, sure, they sound like really interesting optical illusions rather than something that's captured on radar and, you know, really seems weird.
Well, it is interesting that there are companies like what Ryan Graves is doing popping up all over the place right now. This sort of these highly decorated and polished resume guys from obviously military backgrounds, like pilots and things like that, are starting air defense companies essentially that will help the government decipher what's in the air for them, as if the government can't decipher what those things are for themselves. And, you know, I don't know what the hell's going on there. Like, what is going on with all of these companies? And then to couple it with a podcast and sort of, again, inferring that these anomalies are non-human intelligence without giving any proof or sources or details. He's never actually had eyes on these things. He said that and had to walk that claim back. Like, so what the fuck is going on? Like, you know, like, what to me it feels like it's almost feels like they're prepping, you know, it almost feels like they're buttering up the masses to get them used to the idea of seeing weird things in the air.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, the other potential is that it is a problem that's becoming more and more of a real issue these days, which is there's drones and things that are similar size and density to birds. So, right. You know, before where they could, you know, filter stuff out and be like, we don't care about these little, you know, signatures because we think that they're doves. Now they're like, this is a problem. We need to know right. Drone from bird, and it's maybe. I mean, it seems like you can figure that out given the military's budget, but maybe they need some, you know, outside, you know, perspectives and help potentially.
I mean, obviously they would probably, you know, I'm thinking that the awareness of this is going to start the way we're seeing it. It's going to start at the military pilot level, making them, destigmatizing it and making them aware of the issue and what these things look like. And then that trickles down to civil aviation and commercial aviation. And then I think that eventually trickles down to us. And I think the middleman are companies like Enigma, companies like what Ryan Graves is doing as sort of this mouthpiece for the man without officially being connected to the man. Loose connections, if that makes sense. You know, like he's retired Air Force pilot, no longer part of the government, but his government credentials are what is helping him secure these contracts to look at our atmosphere and determine what's what for them. So, is that part of an initiative to be able to tell people from a credible place, oh, those things that you saw over the pier, yeah, those were whatever, or they're a problem and they get reported to the proper place. I don't, that's what it kind of feels like to me, because I can't understand why Ryan Graves would be doing this. Like when you listen to him on Lex Fridman, and I made this clip where he describes what he thinks non-human intelligence would display in our atmosphere and what that would look like. And then 40 minutes later in that same interview, he's describing the things that he's working on. Like, and they mirror exactly what the non-human intelligence would be displaying. And so it's like, what's what's going on there? It's just odd. It's odd behavior, at the very least.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of seems like it's just people vying for government contracts and what the government is interested in and trying to, get some of that sweet government, money.
Yeah, I mean, but it's also like he's also, in one podcast, he's absolutely built a brand. He's almost like he's taken his momentum for being on Lex Fridman and Joe Rogan and has molded that into a reason to listen to him as a voice of authority when it comes to the UAP discussion, both not only for military contracts but for civilians as well. Like he is a middleman in a way.
I mean, yeah, and I mean, it kind of feels a little bit suspect that he did create his own podcast. I feel like that's a money-making entertainment endeavor, right? Which makes me a little bit fearful that might be his entire motive, which is, positioning himself as a UAP guy, UFO guy.
I mean, it might be.
Doing the UFO circuit.
The UFO circuit is definitely growing these days. There's more circuits and there's more, we've got the anomalous inquiry circuit coming up in New York here in the next week, which is just, it's funny. This time they didn't announce the theater they were doing it at because they don't want anybody calling the theater to see how much it costs to run the theater with staff and all of those things. It's hilarious to me, man. It's so funny.
I mean, I don't know if people are interested in that. I mean, I think they deserve to make money. I'm not against that.
Yeah,
right. I mean,
I guess I wouldn't be against it either.
Indulgent potentially, but
if half of the organizers didn't also behind the scenes rip us for that exact thing. So that's for me. That's why I'm just like, well, it's a little hypocritical, right? And why wouldn't I point it out if you guys helped point it out for us? You were so vocal about when we would get a donation, even though our show was 100% free, So like, that's like, I think for me, I think that's just really what it is. It's just I know the organizer, at least one of them. I know both of them. I think James is a great guy. Not a big fan of Mr. King. And sort of all this stuff he put, like, the public facing king versus the private king. Yeah. Well, Not a nice guy. Anyway, but yeah, so that's like, I agree with you. Like, obviously, you're not gonna stop that stuff, right? Like, you're always gonna have these cons. You're always gonna have people trying to find a new church for themselves, or a new escape, or a
Well,
new way to deal with trauma, or
exactly. I mean, that's what it seems like it's morphed into is a religion, and I'm not even really saying that as a derogatory thing. It
no.
kind of there is weird, unexplainable stuff in this life, and some people like to choose to explain it through UFOs and non-human intelligence, and like to have Gary Nolan talk weird esoteric stuff to them, and more power to them. But
Mm.
don't get mad when people ask for proof about stuff that's going before Congress and using our money to hunt UFOs that are probably not there.
Well, that's another guy that maybe should be called into Congress too, is Gary Nolan. I mean, you had said behind the scenes before we started the show that you had shut off your Twitter account. Did you delete it, or you deleted the app on your phone?
No, I deleted the app off my phone. I don't know that there's much benefit in UFO Twitter.
Well, you know what I've done that actually
there
has.
was I don't know.
I would say the thing that I did that worked really.
Go ahead.
I started blocking everyone. Just blocking everyone. No, you're catching up. Did you hear what I said? Did you catch up yet?
No, sorry, Lou. I cut out there for a second.
I said.
I'm back now, though, I think.
Okay. What I did is I just blocked everyone. Just like, if I even had an inkling that you were there to be a dick, I just blocked you. That's it. And it's actually
that's the only thing that
great.
I was gonna say that's the only thing that keeps Twitter that makes me want to draw in is the drama, right? That's the only thing that's keeps me coming back to UFO Twitter.
Well, I mean, I think, I use Twitter for other stuff outside of UFOs. I mean, I love Twitter for just the sort of what's going on socially in the world, in real time. But yeah, I mean, I used to be the guy, we talked about this, where it was just like, if you're blocking people, you're not really listening to other people's opinions. But there are obviously people that are not there for that kind of discourse, and it's also like Twitter's not real. Like, it's not a real place. So at this point, I'm just like blocking, block, and look, I'm going to put out my content. If you like it, awesome. Retweet it, share it, support it. If you don't, I'm moving the fuck on. Like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah. I mean, that's a healthy way to do it. Cause I mean, usually when I, post on Twitter, I'll see something that I disagree with, and I'll craft a response saying, hey, maybe I can change this person's mind, make them think something that they haven't thought before. And it's never going to happen. I mean,
it's wild to me. Like, honestly, this is the thing that I think that made me just start blocking people. Like, this is the only walk of my life anywhere in the world, in job, school, theater, restaurant, television set, whatever, any place I've worked at or interacted with people, this is the only subculture that I've ever been a part of where I've been labeled the racist, or some anti whatever. And it's like, and then you look at the people who are throwing around these accusations, and they're not people of color. They're just loud, privileged people. And it's like, what? Wait a second. How do you guys get to throw around this label? How did you guys get to do this?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous. Some people blocked me because of my association with you and some other Twitter drama that I was just tangentially aware of, and they are thinking that I was some sort of racist or misogynist. And it's just like, man, if you really think that, like, I'm done with this community, Like,
no, it's anybody who's ever worked with me would tell you the complete opposite of that. And it's like, and it's gotten to a point where I'm just like, shit, dude, like, is this worth it? Like, is talking about this worth it? And so now it's just, all right, I'm just going to block people, so this way it's its own little cesspool, and I'm gonna pump out what I pump out. But I think having like a back and forth with this those days are done. Those days are done. Like,
Yeah,
those are done. Because
those are good philosophies.
yeah, no, I mean, like, they're tough, man, because you see those things written about yourself and you want to try and defend yourself. That's your first instinct, and in the defense of yourself, that gets turned into something that is like ridiculous. It's just like, why don't you denounce hatred and anti lesbian sentiment or gay sentiment? So like, my brother's gay. Like, yeah, like, I have family members that are in the LGBT community. Like, just because you're a woman or you're gay, or you're black, you're Latino, doesn't mean when you cry, you're right. Like, you can cry as loud as you want.
Yeah,
I don't give a shit who you are. If you're being an asshole, you're being an asshole. Like, sorry.
Yeah, and by engaging, you just feed the flames, and you promote their arguments, and it's just
right.
They win when you engage, and it's and it's hard not to engage. It is hard not to engage.
No, especially when
especially
when those kind of accusations are getting thrown around.
Yeah.
Like, that's where it is just nasty shit. But it's also weird to just see who, again, like, who interacts with it, who's silent when it happens. You know what I mean? Like, it's funny to see, because it's clear as day who's friends with who. Like, I mean, it's so obvious. But yeah, it's just like, there's a lot of wild dynamics to it. But yeah, I think you're right. Interacting with it, it's a waste of time. But yeah, what did you think about the second part of the video? I think the more interesting sort of thing that I think we can maybe get happen is to get that Eric Weinstein, Bob Lazar conversation to happen. Like, I think that, to me, is if we get a few thousand people to possibly retweet at Rogan and Weinstein, maybe they do try and make it happen, and put like a public date. Like, okay, December 25th, 2024, if we can't make our schedules align, then we know you're full of shit. Like, officially.
I'm doing a little bit of remote viewing right now, Lou, and I'm getting the sense that Bob Lazar has a migraine on that date. So it's coming in very strongly.
Yeah. I think that's, the reason I made this video, man, is just watching Stanton Friedman, an actual physicist. And look, let's be honest, Stanton Friedman had his blind spots, especially when it comes to MJ13. Or what is it? MJ13? MJ12?
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so like, I think he had his blind spots and the stuff that he really supported, but for the most part, I think he was one of the most sensible people in the conversation, and he's definitely, hands down, has the highest IQs on that stage anyway, without a doubt. And that's not knocking anybody. That's just fact, right? If I was on that stage, it would be a really wide margin of intelligence. But I felt bad for him. I'm like, I can't. And this is like, that was one of he retired a couple of years after that discussion. And I felt like after that discussion, his career really wasn't the same. Like, people didn't look at him the same because they thought he got owned by, Corbell and the whole Lazar thing. Oh, how could you not believe Lazar? And I think in a lot of ways, it might have discouraged him. It might have sort of broke him a little bit. Like, man, like, how are people not understanding what I'm saying? Like, how are people being this illogical? You could see it. It was written all over his face for the whole debate. He's just looking at Corbell was just like this, like, are you kidding look the whole time. It's like, no, we can't talk about Los Alamos. And even if we do want to talk about Los Alamos, he was a contractor. Let's get to the core of this. Does he have the education to back engineer alien technology? The answer is no, and he lied about it. Lied. Period. Full stop. You know, I just felt bad for him.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I didn't feel. I felt like he was just, I felt like he was up there and he knew he was dealing with idiots, and he was, it felt like he was up there, a parent trying to deal with a unruly, kindergarten class, and just kind of rolling his eyes at them, being like, "Really?"
Well,
Which is kind of how I feel on Twitter most days.
Yeah. Well, I think, again, like editing it, like that one moment where the guy yells out from the crowd, "Who cares?" And he grabs the mic and he's like, his hand was shaking. He was so mad, like he was so frustrated. He was frustrated in that conversation. Like, I don't think it was as simple as, I really do believe that in this conversation, all of the goodwill that he built up, kind of like with us, all of the goodwill that he built up had been destroyed in one conversation just because he didn't believe it.
I could see that. I'm not as familiar with the whole Stanton Friedman, trajectory, but
well, he was getting really old toward the end too, but it just like that's just, again, just somebody who was editing that footage and kind of just replaying it over and over and over. Maybe I definitely have a different perspective on it than most people, but just the vibe I got was, like, yeah, we don't care about your degrees. We don't care about your research. We don't care. I mean, even when you go back and listen to the whole thing, like Alejandro Rojas did actually a pretty decent job of trying to just pull back Corbell. And there's so much stuff I cut. You have no idea how hard it was to cut this from like 45 minutes long to, I think it ended up being like almost 27 minutes, 26 minutes, something like that. There was a moment where Corbell stops the conversation and he's like, "You got to give me a chance to talk, man." Like I say something, you say something, and I'm like, what a dick. And I timed the entire conversation. I think I wrote it down somewhere. Anyway, it was like the whole conversation was 34 minutes. Rojas had like 6 minutes. Corbell had I don't know, like 17 or 18 minutes out of that conversation, and it was like Stanton ended up with like 10 minutes, so he clearly had control of the conversation, and that conversation that's online has been edited down even from a longer conversation. So it's even, I'd be interested to see the whole thing, because there was a Q&A from the audience. There was a lot of other things in that show that they edited out, and whoever did film that did a pretty terrible job. The framing of it was really bad. It was cutting off Corbell's head here and Stan's head here, and they also didn't even bother using the sound from the microphones to edit into the video. They used the microphone that was on the camera. It was disappointing, and it was hard to edit. But I mean, yeah. I mean, what do you think? Do you think Weinstein and Corbell will happen?
No. I'll bet you any amount. If it does happen, he won't be convinced. But I'd eat my hat. I'd eat whatever book Nick Collins is promising to eat if if Lazar agrees to it, because he knows that he's a fraud, so he's not going to agree with it. You made the same point about Stanton Friedman,
Right. Well, I think
he's not going to talk to those people.
I think that's why, at the very least, we should try and put pressure on Corbell and Knapp to publicly say, like, why would they be against these things happening? What is the drawback of this happening? They want the truth, right? Like, as an investigative reporter this has been your whole life, your whole career, don't you want to validate that? Like, in front of the world? Like, I know he was bummed out that he didn't get to break the 2017 article. This would be huge. Like, if you went in front of Congress with the protections that are in place, thanks to the new whistleblower protection clauses, like, you should be able to go in front of Congress and maybe not in public, but at least in a classified setting, let these lawmakers know, okay, who are your sources? Who are you talking to? And let us talk to them. We're not going to get them in trouble. We're not going to persecute them because we can't, but let us try and get to the bottom of your truth, right? Like, this is your truth, George and Jeremy. This is your whole career. This is your protege. This is your mentor. like you guys are fighting for this ultimate truth. Wouldn't this be the best way to do it? Like, these two things, get your millions of people who follow you and the news stations that you appear on with lawmakers, ask for people to call their representatives and ask for Bob Lazar to be called into Congress, and Lou Elizondo and Jeremy Corbell and everyone else. Like, these, you should be wanting to speak these truths with the laws that have been put in place, right?
100% agree, and I think that's a great. I agree with you that we should be asking these questions and demanding that they do that. But I also think that there's not a chance it will happen. This clip that you played makes me kind of think that Jeremy Corbell, I don't think that he actually believes Bob Lazar. If
I don't
even
think
in
so
that
either.
even that clip that you played,
I don't think
talks
so
about
either.
him saying, "I don't know that it's true. I don't know that he did it, but I believe him.
I believe him."
And I feel like that's just kind of
I wasn't there.
subconscious.
Wasn't there, but I believe him. Like, what the fuck does that even mean?
It didn't really happen, but I'm going to tell you it did.
Yeah, because I've got movies to sell. Like, at that very conference, they could have talked, him and Stanton Friedman. That conversation should have happened at that conference. And the fact that Jeremy Corbell, I forgot that Jeremy Corbell had made 2 films about Lazar. He made a short film, and I remember being really pissed off about this movie because I think it was only like 7 or 8 minutes long, and he charged like $12 for it. And I remember, or maybe I have those numbers flopped, I don't know, it was a while ago, but I remember being fucking pissed, being like, wait a second, this is the short film that I just paid for? This has got nothing in it. And then that got made into, I think what he did is he made a sizzle, and then he sold the sizzle to schmucks like me, and then said, look, proof of concept, see, people are buying this, let's make a movie. Got the money to make the movie, and then shot it. And then, of course, made a killing. Because he got to promote it on Joe Rogan. He got to put it on Netflix. He got to, be on every news station and radio show across the land, promoting this truth. Promoting this truth, according to him. So if it's true, use that influence, use that voice, use that power, and get in front of Congress. I mean, they're clearly listening to you. You're doing shows with members of Congress. What's the problem? Pretend you're Jeremy Corbell, rather.
Oh, yes. Stroke my beard, right?
I mean, that's all you could do, man. That's all you could do. Just stroke your beard. And a marvelous beard it is. I gotta say, I mean, his fashion sense is really good. But I'm curious, rather, what do you think I should cover next? What would you like to see a video of?
Oh man, yeah. I mean, have you done a video of the whole just your story with Lou Elizondo? Because I think that is very interesting. I think you may have done that at the beginning.
That was what I was talking to you about last, I think, November, right after I ended the show, and I came up with the whole Church of Ufology thing, and I told you what was going down with that. That was the first thing that was going to launch the channel. And then I was like, no, I'm going to take a real break from this shit. Took a legitimate break, and then, done some live streams, obviously streaming some other content now as well. But in the editing of this new stuff I've been working on, I think that's going to have to be the next one, right? Like, sort of the whole timeline from the beginning of when I met him till the very last second, and what happened and the order of things. because I think that's important, like to definitively map out the whole thing is like, can I do it in under 10 minutes? That was like my thing. And I don't know if I could, man, because again, like how do you condense 2.5 years of red flags into a short video?
Yeah, I know.
It's a lot
there's
of
a
work.
lot there. There's a lot of minutia too, a lot of nuance.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with that is I could do it, I could do it, but it would take at least a month or two to edit, and so that's, and I think, like, I'm looking at some of the really big content creators only do one video a month, and that's because they are doing the research and the editing of that one topic, and it takes them the whole month to edit it, and they put that one thing out a month. And so I'm thinking maybe that's what this is going to kind of morph into, is, mostly edited, targeted topics, kind of like what we did in the last 2 episodes of Church of Ufology, sprinkled, with a once a month live stream, discussion like this, sprinkled with games and movie reviews and all that other stuff as well. But yeah, man, I think that's a worthy thing to tell, for sure. I think the time at some point it needs to be there. The timeline needs to be made of that. There's a lot of stuff of Lou Elizondo that needs to be kind of curated and looked at under a microscope just by itself. Even just simple moments, like there are really simple moments with Ross Coulthard and George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell, and there are all these moments that they have where they're giving you truth and a lie at the exact same time, and they're really good at doing it. And the only thing that's difficult to determine is, are they doing it for a grift, or are they doing it because they truly believe in it? That's for me. I mean, with Corbell, I think that's clear. We know exactly what he's in it for. With Lou, I think that I have a feeling, but I don't know. I don't know 100%, right?
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, no, I feel that'd be a very interesting story for you to tell. I think cuts to the heart of the whole modern UFO, notion, and you have a frontline perspective that other people don't have. That your story is what I wish the people were hearing, right, when they talk about who to trust in this arena and everything.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is that people are I think people are starting to see it. They're starting to slowly realize it. I've noticed a little bit where they're like, "Oh shit, I get it now." Like, well, I get why you're upset. I get why you
can only promise that there's world changing information around the corner for so long before people are starting to ask for it. Right.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see within the camps of belief, there have been cracks here recently of people being like, "You keep saying it's around the corner. I know this person is respectable and I really love their work, but like, how long are we gonna do this?" And then in come the flood of just their tailored support system to cradle them and be like, no, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. Don't worry about it. Hey, remember this? Remember what Nolan said? Remember what Lou said? Remember this thing that happened? I'm telling you, I heard from a guy who knows a guy. It's right around the corner. Don't worry about it. We're so close. Did we lose Rather again? Rather, are you there? Oh man, we got to get you on a wired connection next time, my friend. Let's see. Come on, come back to us, Rather. Come back to us. Let's see. I think when he comes back, we're gonna end the show. Let's see if It looks like we lost him. There he goes. Yo, there you go.
All right, Leo.
No, it's all right. Next time you got to get on a wired connection.
Yeah. No, I too much faith in technology.
Yeah. What, do you have some guests over there, rather? What's going on, buddy? Yeah.
Oh no, I just decided the standard video streaming setup in my dining room table.
Yeah.
Probably move that to a side room.
Damn it. Yeah, we need to get a wired connection in there, man. But anyway,
I'll work on it. It'll be better next time.
Yeah. All right. Well, on that note, I think this was a fun conversation. It was a little choppy, but we had fun. I had fun.
I did too. I don't know if I responded to the right thing there because I'm cutting in and out. But thanks for having me on, Lou.
Excellent. All right, that's it. Rather, I love you to death. I'll see you soon, man. We'll talk soon.
Sounds good. See you later.
Later, buddy. All right, you guys. That was Rather Be Squidding and his terrible internet connection. But no matter what, I will always love him to death. That's it, you guys. That's it for today's live stream. Let me know in the comments below what you guys want me to do a video on next. Do you want me to do the timeline of the whole meeting Lou Elizondo, starting the show, what happened, that whole thing? I mean, do people really want to rehash that? Do you guys really want to hear about that? Should that be made? I think that's kind of the reason why I haven't sort of dived into that story. It's just because, like, I've already told it a million times. I don't know. What do you guys think? If you guys want me to do it, hit Y for yes and for no in the comment section down below. Or if you want me to concentrate on something else, if there's something else that you see, hey, man, I'd love for you to call this out. Or, here's my opinion on this. What do you think? Whatever you guys think, whatever you guys want me to cover out there. If you see a grift that you think needs to be called out, let me know about it. Because I think that's the direction for the show, is calling out the grift, calling out the BS, and sort of the, the ugly side of this community. Because call it a community. It's loosely saying it that. But with that said, you guys, thank you all so much for the donations. Let me just go through the history here, make sure I didn't miss anything. I'm getting this OBS thing figured out, you guys. I've been editing a lot, so I've been kind of neglecting the live stream stuff. But I will be getting everybody's comments in here, so I don't miss anything here in the next, hopefully before the next show. And what else? Is there anything else that I can think of? I can't think of really anything crazy right now. Let me shut this down. Let me turn up some. Can I turn up some tunage here? Let me see. There we go. All right. Anyway, is it coming through for you guys though? Probably not. Oh, you know why? I think that's why. No, maybe. I don't know. It's not working. Whatever. I don't know what the hell. This OBS is hard to use, man. Anyway, you guys, I love you all. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you for sharing the video. Don't forget to use the hashtags. Links for ways to support the show are down below. Every dollar is appreciated. It helps me create more content, not work, and edit more and do more videos. So with that said, I love you all. Have a killer night. UFO John Doe, thank you so much for that last second donation. I truly appreciate it. And yeah, I eat grifters for breakfast. I love that, Miss Therion. Awesome. I eat grifters for breakfast. Man, let's eat them for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Let's fucking put this fucking grifters on the kebab. Let's shove some sticks through them and let's have a party. You know what I'm saying? All right, you guys, have a killer night. Peace. Peace.